If you're not signing clients as fast as you would like to right now, today I'm going to teach you how to sign your next 5. And I'm going to keep this as simple as possible for you because client acquisition is simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. And the strategy I'm going to teach you today is the same that I've used to close thousands of clients over the past 8 years and make tens of millions in new revenue. Now, to get people to buy our service, we have to be specific, scrappy, and sharp. What do I mean by this? To be specific means that we serve one kind of person. We want to be a specialist within our service business, our agency, whatever the hell you want to call it. We need to be niche. When I tell someone they need to be niche, they always perceive that as only working with one industry, i.e. they only work with gyms, they only work with jewelry stores or online coaches, for example. But that is just one of 3 different ways that we can be niche. So what kind of person would just work with a specific industry? Well, if you have a whole bunch of case studies in one industry, then it's a good indicator that you're getting good results in that space and that you should lean into that, leverage those results, and work with that one specific industry. Because if you reach out to, let's say, a gym, and you are a gym specialist marketing agency, you offer an AI lead generation service, for example, and you're going up against another generalist agency that has the same amount of credibility online but isn't specialist, you're going to win every single time because the client is going to perceive you to understand their pains, wants, needs, and desires far more than the generalist. Okay? And so that is when we would pick one industry. When else would we? We would do it if we have an unfair advantage. Let's say you're watching this, you haven't even started your agency yet. Well, if you've worked in a specific industry for a number of years before you've even started your agency, you've got a depth of knowledge that other people do not have about that industry. That is a good indicator that you could start off and focus on that specialization, that one specific industry. What about if neither of those 2 things suit you? Okay, well, then I would recommend you going what I call scattergun, working with as many different industries as possible before you figure out which one you do or don't want to end up specializing in, because you don't have to specialize in an industry. Now, an example of this would be my client Nico, who owns Dentology. They're a dental marketing agency, meaning they only work with dentists. And they do that very well. That's why they're dominating their space, and he had over 100 grand in revenue per month less than 2 years after launching that business. But that is not the only way to do things. What about if you don't have a bunch of case studies that push you into a specific industry? What about if you don't have an unfair advantage in a previous job that you had that gave you industry knowledge? Well, then you need to go scattergun. You need to go much broader with the industry that you pick, or you just don't pick any industry at all. Like my agency, Affluent.co. We've been around for 8 years. We've made tens of millions in revenue, and we work with any direct-to-consumer brand. That means we work with any company that sell products online to consumers, but we are still very niche. How are we niche? Well, we just sell one system, and that system is performance creative. We create videos and images that are built to make money by being spent or putting money behind them on the ad account. This is creative that drives performance. It drives cash in the bank. And that makes us stand out from every other agency that works with any direct-to-consumer brand, but says they do Facebook ads, and they do email, and they do conversion rate optimization, they do all of these things. They are generalists. Our marketing and our message and our sales is always pushing the narrative of performance creative first and foremost, which means we'd get the clients. And that's why we have a wait list whilst other people are struggling to get people over the line. Now, another example of this would be my friend Oliver, who owns ConversionWise. They're an agency that work with any industry, but they specialize in just one system. And that one system is conversion rate optimization, meaning they increase the conversion rate on websites and landing pages. So they get more people to do the shit you want them to do when they click the link and visit your website. That's one system they sell to anybody, and they crank. Now, there's one final way we can niche down, and that is through location. Very simply, we only work with businesses in our local area. People love to work with local, and agencies that do specialize local do very well, and they dominate that local area versus other people that are generalists in these big national chains. The only caveat to location is this isn't suitable for everyone, because if you live in a very rural place, you're going to be limited by the amount of businesses you have in your area, and therefore your revenue is going to be capped. So this only really applies to you if you're in a very fruitful, very affluent area with a lot of businesses around. Broadly, I've seen it be done very well many times over, but broadly speaking, for the majority of you, if you don't have a bunch of case studies, you don't have a clear advantage in an industry, one system is where you want to be starting off. You sell one specific system, and therefore you're selling to one kind of person. How does one system mean you're selling to one kind of person? Okay, It's because there's one pain, there's one result that they actually need. Okay, so if we offer, as an agency, performance creative, okay, then the pain, the person is going to be a business owner that owns a company that is frustrated that they don't have good creative in their ad account and therefore they can't scale their ads. Okay, if you offer an AI lead generation service and that becomes your system, then you are solving the very specific pain of not being able to generate leads. And if they are generating leads, not being able to convert them leads and it being time consuming to convert those leads. And therefore you're using AI to solve those problems because it's converting the leads on the client behalf. And so we're serving one kind of person because they have one specific pain and we need to offer them only one result that they actually need. Okay, don't try and solve all of their issues. Just try and focus on the one biggest issue that they are facing within their business. And I don't care if you're a web agency, if you're an AI lead gen agency, if you're an AI automation agency, just focus on one specific problem, at least to get you to $100,000 a month in your agency. If you want to add complexity beyond that and you want to scale horizontally through different markets beyond that, be my guest. But get yourself to over $100,000 in revenue with one specific niche, okay, and one result. Now, once you know what that one result is, guarantee that one result, but don't lean on it. What do I mean? Many people take $100 million offers by Hormozy way too literally. Okay, they think that the only way to get clients over the line is by having a really big, bold offer. Okay, we help this business get this specific result in this specific time frame, and then a risk reversal. Okay, or you don't pay. What is the goal of that guarantee? Well, it is just to generate trust. It's just to prove to people, or attempt to prove to people, that we are who we say we are and we can do what we say we can do. Okay, well, that is what I call, or what we call, a promise. Okay? We are promising a specific outcome. What is better than a promise? Proof. It's actually showing that we can do that thing. And so the minute you have case studies, the minute you have testimonials, the minute you have reviews from clients, you want to put that at the forefront of all of your marketing and all of your sales outreach. So sure, in the early stages, you can use a guarantee statement because it's all you've really got. Okay, it's your attempt to build trust. But the minute you actually have proof, that is what you should lean forward with, and the guarantee should take a back seat. Okay, and this is a big mistake I see many people make. In fact, actually, in Affluent.co, my agency, we haven't leaned forward with a tangible guarantee in years. In fact, our only guarantee is a satisfaction guarantee. If you're not completely happy with working with us within the first 30 days, and you get your money back. And nobody ever redeems that because we attract the right clients. How do we do that? Well, we have the right clients. Our clients attract the right clients because our prospective clients want to be our existing clients. So we have to wear all of the results that we have generated in our business through our marketing, through our sales outreach, through everything that we do. Proof will always beat promise. The guarantee is there for the early stages. When you're established, proof is the single most important thing. And so make sure you get as much out as you possibly can across every channel that you have, specifically for one kind of person, specifically for one specific result. Okay, if we want to get clients over the line fast, we've got to be a specialist. Next, we've got to be scrappy. Okay, what does it mean to be scrappy? It means that we've got to do whatever it takes to get the job done. I speak to thousands of agency owners on an annual basis, and the ones that struggle to get clients over the line and grow at the rate they want to grow are the ones that are stuck doing shit that isn't productive to their growth. Okay, it's the people that spend the majority of their time stuck in operations, the majority of their time stuck in service. And you might be thinking right now, well, that's all well and good, Jordan, but who's going to service my clients? Your team. There's a turning point in every agency. And that turning point comes between 4 and 6 clients in. When we start an agency, we're the person, we're selling all of the time, we're reaching out to people, we're getting meetings, we're getting clients over the line. Then all of a sudden we get stuck in service delivery because we're fulfilling on behalf of the clients who just signed up. Somewhere between 4 and 6 clients, we get to a point where sales drops off the face of the earth. And this is the critical point where so many agency owners get stuck. They actually start to lose clients. They start to regress and they look back and wonder how the hell that happened. It happened because they didn't hire soon enough. They didn't relinquish control soon enough. So if you're in a position right now where you feel stuck in operations, you feel stuck in service delivery, you need to bite the bullet, put yourself out financially, put the trust in somebody else and build a service delivery team so you can bring your your time back to sales. Because the truth is, no matter how much you want to outsource sales, no matter how much you wish someone else could cold call on your behalf, could take sales meetings on your behalf, sales is the last thing that you want to outsource as an agency owner. Because to get a quality salesperson inside the business is going to cost you a hell of a lot more than it is to get someone who can deliver the service on behalf of your clients. So as a founder, you've got to be spending 80% of your day selling. And not just on sales calls, because if you're watching this video, your calendar probably isn't full of calls, and in which case you need to be spending your time on cold outreach or on paid ads or whatever system that you've decided to use in order to fill your calendar. In fact, the tactics are vastly irrelevant. You can send emails, you can make cold calls, you can do DMs, you can run ads on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. There are infinite ways in order for you to fill your calendar. In fact, I'll talk about the majority of them on my channel. You can go and watch some videos after this if you want to get into the tactics. The most important thing is that you're just doing volume in the first place. You're doing the thing. See, the majority of agency owners who come to me and say, I'm not getting enough clients over the line. In fact, I actually spoke to someone last week who said to me, Jordan, I haven't signed a client in 3 months. I said, okay, well, what is the method you use? What is the tactical system that you use in order to get meetings on your calendar? They said cold calls. So how many cold calls you made? So I made 300 cold calls. You made 300 cold calls in the last 3 months. And you're asking me why you're not signing clients. Volume is your problem. In fact, for the majority of people that aren't signing clients right now, volume of whatever system it is that they are using to get meetings is the number one problem. Volume is always the shortcut to increasing your revenue and increasing the number of clients that you're signing. That sounds oversimplified, but you know it. As I say this to you right now, in fact, ask yourself that question and be brutally honest with yourself. How many new businesses have you contacted in the past month? And could that be, just maybe, the reason why you're not getting clients right now? Now, once you do fix your volume problem, once you do pull yourself out of operations, pull yourself out of service, whatever you need to do, you've got to do it. You've got to get yourself in a place where you're spending 80% of your time selling. The truth is you're never going to grow your agency at the rate you want to grow it if you are not spending the majority of your time selling on client acquisition systems. You've got to track everything. You've got to test everything. If we don't have clarity on what is working, we very quickly lose motivation to continue the thing. If you're making cold calls and you feel like you're not getting enough meetings, but you're not tracking the micro data, you're not tracking your pickups, you're not tracking your positive conversations, you're not tracking the appointment set rate so you know specifically how many calls it takes in order for you to get a meeting over the line, if you're not benchmarking that and tracking the improvement over time, it's very easy to lose motivation to continue doing the thing. And that's purely because of a lack of clarity. And so if you resonate with that and you feel like you've really given it a good shot, you feel like you've really tried to get meetings and you've lost motivation, it's probably because of a lack of clarity. So you've got to start tracking every single number so you can observe your improvements on a weekly, on a monthly basis. And most importantly, you can observe and learn about what is actually going to work for your specific agency, your specific system, your specific industry, whatever way you've decided to niche down. And then when you find out what works, you double down on what works. You don't decide, okay, now I'm going to do email as well. Now I'm going to do this extra ad strategy. No, you double down on what works. You squeeze the juice out of the acquisition system that is working for you, and you specialize in that until you hit over 100K a month. You can build any agency to over 100K a month by just focusing on one client acquisition system. The caveat to that is if you're just starting out, you've got no clients at all, at that point, be as scrappy as humanly possible. Spray and pray. Do as much as you possibly can. Get in front of people in networking events. Do cold calls. Send emails. Send DMs. Okay, don't run paid ads because you don't have any proof yet. But in-person meetings, cold calls, emails, DMs, do the lot of it. Figure out what's going to work with you. The minute you get an inkling as to which of those acquisition channels is going to work the best for you and your specific agency, focus on that one specific thing and double, triple, 10 triple down on it. I don't care. Be scrappy. Do whatever it takes to get the job done. Spend 80% of your day selling. I know I'm repeating that, but I cannot stress enough. I've mentored over 4,000 agency owners, and the people that come to me and say, I am struggling to get clients right now, the vast majority of those people are just simply not doing enough volume of sales. They're too stuck in the weeds. They're stuck procrastinating. They're stuck watching YouTube videos on different opportunities. They're testing different niches. They're testing different offers. They're pivoting their service all of the time. They're doing anything they possibly can to avoid the one thing that they all know that they should be doing, and that is selling. So what about if meetings aren't your problem? You're getting meetings. You're getting in front of people. You just can't get them over the line. Well, you got to sharpen up. Okay, you got to know your shit. You got to know your shit, the system that you sell, and who you sell it to, better than the person you're selling it to. How do we do that? How can we create a perception of the person that we're selling to that we know what they need more than they know it themselves? Especially in the early stages when it's difficult because we actually don't. Okay, we're kind of just learning the service. We're just figuring it out. We haven't even got enough clients over the line to be a true expert. Well, an easy way to demonstrate a sharp mentality and a lot of knowledge is by listening proactively, more than we speak on a sales meeting. I can't count how many sales meetings I've watched over the years. And I've watched people sell so heavily and turn off prospects that were going to buy anyway. It's kind of like walking into a clothes shop. Let's say it's a suit shop. And we've all met one of those salesmen that just meet you at the door and are like, all right, what do you need? And they kind of loiter around you like, can I help? And they loiter around you and you've got all this pressure to buy and you're like, fuck me, man. Can you just let me look at the clothes? Can you just let me figure out if I actually want something? I probably don't even want anything yet. Just leave me alone. I'll come and find you when I need you. Versus the experience of going to see a tailor. You go see a tailor and it's not about making you choose a specific suit. It's about finding a suit that's right for you. It's about finding something that fits. So the buying decision is very easy because you're not being forced into buying something that you haven't picked. You're having something curated for you in that moment. And this is the same experience we want to create when we're on a sales call with a prospect. We want to create a completely bespoke experience. Now, many people will force their prospects through a very rigid sales process. And I'm not saying the problem here is following a script or following a framework. In fact, I recommend you doing so. The problem is making it clear that you are doing so. The best salespeople, well, when you speak to them, you don't feel like they're selling to you at all. You feel like they genuinely want to solve your pain. And so if we're going to follow a framework, and the one I recommend is a simple discovery, presentation, close. Okay, this is a 3-part framework that's been around in many industries for years now. It's nothing new. The discovery phase is where we're going to learn about the prospect. We're going to understand their pains, wants, needs, desires. We're going to listen to them. Okay, the presentation phase is where we're going to present a solution to those pains we identified. And then the close is where we wrap things up. It's okay to have specific goals for that discovery. We want to understand their current situation. We want to understand their desired. We want to understand the gap and the things that are standing in the way. And we need to get emotional buy-in to that gap and actually solving the problems in the first place. But what is not okay is being so obsessed over your next questions that you don't stop to listen to what the prospect is actually trying to tell you. The discovery stage is all about listening more than we speak. It's about digging pain and understanding the prospect. It is about demonstrating to them that we genuinely care about the problems that they are facing in their business, not that we are filling in some questionnaire like it's an onboarding form. Now, if you do nail that discovery stage and you have that fluid conversation, you've got the prospect in a very emotional state. You've got them building a lot of rapport with you. And I've seen this happen time and time again with agency owners, and they've nailed this discovery phase. And then they screw it all up when they transition to the presentation. And so I'm going to recommend to you that you ditch the deck. If you're taking people through a presentation deck right now, you are probably turning off the prospects that you are speaking to on the line, especially if you're doing a 1-call close. If you're doing a 2-call close, well, that's the only time you really can use a deck. Why? You've got the prospect in this very emotional, fluid state. They've had a back and forth conversation with you. Now, when you go to then present them through a Google sheet, a Google slide, or a keynote, whatever, you're then taking them from a very fluid state to a very rigid state, and you're forcing them through a cut and paste process. Okay, you're saying it doesn't actually matter about all these specific problems that you've told me you have, because what only matters is the fact that we're going to solve these problems that we believe are the ones that you actually have that are the most important. And so it's disregarding all of that deep work we have done at the start of the call in having this very fluid conversation. And so it only works to have a pitch deck if we are doing it on a second call with the prospect. Okay, so we come off the first call, we jump on a second, and then we present something to them. Why? Because perceptionally, the prospect will at least feel like you created that deck just for them. So if you're doing a one call close right now and you're going through any kind of presentation, ditch it. That's not to say that you cannot close in one call. In fact, I encourage you to do so, but it means that your presentation has to be verbal and has to be completely tailored to all of the problems that they just highlighted to you in the discovery stage. Your solution has to feel bespoke to their situation that they just expressed to you. Now, finally, we must operate with abundance and not scarcity. An inability to close creates an inability to close. Why? Because we start to act from a place of lack. We start to act from a place of scarcity. Because if we're struggling to get people over the line, then in ourselves, we start to panic. We start to gain anxiety. We start to worry that we're not going to get someone. We start to worry that we're not going to be able to make money next month. And that worry is expressed in our energy, is expressed in the things that we say, in the way that we act, is expressed in our body language, and our prospects feel it, and they don't close. Now, on the flip side to this, when we're winning, when we're getting clients over the line, when we're making loads of money, we always seem to attract more. Why? Because we ooze abundance. People feel that from us, and it's infectious. People want it. They want that in their own lives. Abundance attracts abundance. Now, you might not be feeling like that right now. Maybe you are acting from a place of scarcity, and that's okay. It's normal when things aren't going to plan. But you've got to bring it to the forefront of your mind that people buy conviction. People buy confidence. They buy from people that fill them with trust. And if you're acting from a place of lack, you're not going to build any trust. So I don't care if you've got to fake it till you make it. You've got to pull yourself together and put yourself in the shoes of a successful business owner, because success attracts success. We've got to be specific. We've got to be scrappy, and we've got to be sharp. So go get some clients. Subscribe for more. I'll see you soon. Cheers.